Oh, man. What is up? What is up? We are back with another edition of Leo G Show. I am Leo G, man, and we're doing something a little different tonight. Man, I got a little hype on that one, man, because it's October. We're in the fall. The temperatures have cooled down, and we're right now kind of in the midst of homecoming season. It is homecoming season. Whether you went to a PWI or HBCU, everybody went to a high school. I'm hoping or assuming so. Homecoming is upon us. So I'm in a homecoming mood tonight, man. We'll talk about it here in just a minute, man. About how we feeling. So before we get into it, I'm gonna take it around the table and we'll talk just a little bit about homecoming. We'll talk a little bit about some feel good stuff when it comes to HBCUs and just marching bands and all that before we get into the meat of the show, because we got a lot to talk about tonight. So I'm gonna pass it over to my man Banks here first. Banks, we'll do a fit check and a drink check, man, first, and then we'll talk a little bit about homecomings and everything else. Give everybody a fit check and a drink check for me, brother.
I didn't do nothing special tonight, fellas. How y'all feeling, Leo? How you feeling, Derico? I did something simple. I got Dion on, throwback Sanders, throwback hat. They do nothing really big like you fellas. You guys are blowing me away. I'm just drinking some Crown XO, baby. Crown XO, baby. That's what I'm on tonight. So I'm feeling special. So yeah.
Absolutely, man. Crown XO, man. That's an excellent choice, Banks. That's what's up, man. Cause we're gonna get real loose. And we're gonna talk. We're gonna have a lot of fun tonight. We're gonna get real loose. Like I said, it's homecoming, man. We're gonna feel good about this show tonight. We're gonna let it loose and we're gonna let it rip. So look, Banks, before we kick it over to our partner out there on the East, man, look, I know you are somebody that has a profound love for homecoming, not only HBCUs, because you played in the band. So, you have a love and for, just in general, just music and just the feel and the vibe of homecoming, right? It's nothing like homecoming, especially in the South and especially at the HBCU. I mean, we're in Georgia, obviously, of course, man. High school homecomings are very, very big. Banks, is there any just is there a school? Is there a song? Is there a band? It just kind of, when you think about homecoming, when you think about HBCUs, somebody just really just get you going, man.
It is. I'm glad you mentioned that, Leo. When I was in high school, that Benjamin Elijah Mays High School. Just shout out to those Raiders. I always thought of, dreamt about going to this school out in Mississippi. Very, very a school that I don't know. Maybe I'm being biased here with the swag that I just envy to be a part of. That school is Jackson State University. You hear it, baby. You hear it. Leo, that was spot on, baby. If you know about this school right here, you know what's going on with what you coming to if you playing on the side of them.
Man, listen. JSU. Man, listen, we've been following JSU since before Prime got there and put them on the map, man. Sonic Boom of the South, man. Shout out Jackson State University, man, for real, man. Banks, I had the opportunity of going out to a Jackson State game, man, and it's like none other, man. It's a special place, and like you said, Banks, man, Sonic Boom of the South, they do their thing, man. I had to put that down for you, Banks. I know how much you love JSU, man, so that's what's up, man. So I'm going to pass it out to my brother on the East. It's my man, Derico, man. What's going on with you, brother?
What's going on, Leo G? What's going on, my man Banks? Ain't been with y'all in a couple of sessions, but the brother is back tonight.
Hey, man, that's because you've been rolling, man. You've been rolling, doing your thing.
Hey, one thing about life, it stands still for nobody, so I got to make sure I get out there and get it in before it's too late. I'm not going to live a life of regrets, baby.
Absolutely, man. You got to do what you do, man. So listen, fit check, drink check, man, and we'll get into some of your favorite moments in just a second, man. So let everybody know what you got on. Let everybody know what you're drinking tonight.
I'm representing that team from the capital city of Florida, the Florida A&M Rattlers, the Strikers, baby, and strike and strike and strike again. Let's go. And when you hear it, you know who it is. The sound come through there. No one else will play that song like on Marching 100 from the seven of the highest heroes in Tallahassee.
Man, listen, Tallahassee, Florida, man. Shout out to FAMU, man. Shout out to them rattlers down there for real, man. I've also had the opportunity of going down to Tallahassee, man, and it is a vibe down there in Tallahassee, man. When you go down to FAMU, man, real, it's nothing like a HBCU homecoming, man. It really is. Leo G tonight, man. Y'all can see it. If you're listening, listen. I have an adopted HBCU, man, for real. If you didn't know, shout out Tuskegee University, man. That is my adopted HBCU. We are HBCU house. My wife, shout out to Fort Valley State University. But man, my adopted HBCU is Tuskegee University, man. I am, you know,
You so
Rick.
you so quick to get ready to talk about Tuskegee. You ain't let me get into my stuff.
Oh my bad. My bad, man. Hey, man, I cut you off. My bad, man. Go ahead and tell everybody what to drink, man. And I crank it back. My bad. Let everybody know.
I'm on a chill tip. That's why I had to interrupt because I'm on a chill tip today. I'm just drinking some cranberry juice with a little Kettle One in it. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm drinking out of my FAMU pint glass. I'm just telling you right now. I'm just doing it like that today. I'm chilling tonight. I'm going to let y'all get crunk. I'm going to sit back and enjoy the show. But yeah.
My bad.
That's what I'm
My
drinking.
bad. My bad, man.
The FAMU hat,
FAMU.
the orange, and the FAMU baseball jersey. That's what we doing today. God damn you.
I see you, brother. I see you, man. My bad. And that's totally on me. I'm hyped, man. It's homecoming, dude. I am hyped. And, it's just one of those feelings, man. October comes around, man. It's just in the air, man. So, like you said, Bank, shout out to, I'm going to do it because you're my boy, man. Mays Raiders over there, man. Shout out to them. Shout out to Derek Cole because he's from the country down there in South Georgia, man. And Cairo syrup makers down there. And shout out to, as we record this show, man, Banneker High School Trojans, man. They running it big over there homecoming tonight against Lithia Springs. They doing it big. What? Why are you shaking your head, man?
Hey, I've been up in the A now for a minute. I've been in the area for a minute.
Man,
so shout out to Stevenson High School. Shout out to Stevenson High School.
Shout out to Stevenson High School on the east side.
In the east side, baby.
Really?
Don't get it twisted.
Shout out to the east side, man. Listen, I'm going to do it like this here, man. Shout out to Banneker High School, man. Homecoming tonight, 2023. I'm recording this show, fellas, man. So I'm rocking with y'all, man. Homecoming tonight over there with the Trojans, man. Got to shout out to all my people that went to B-Town over there. But look, like I said, going back, my adopted HBCU is Tuskegee University, man. I didn't attend, but, man, my family is huge. My mother is from Tuskegee, Alabama. So, man, for the majority of my life, man, I've been going down there. I've been going to games. I've been going to homecoming. And it's nothing like I said, man, I tell people all the time, it's nothing like a HBCU homecoming, man. I mean, I'm talking about I've gone on game day. I've gone for the week. I've gone for weekends. Shout out FAMU. Shout out Jackson State. Shout out Alcorn State, Tennessee State, Southern, Mississippi Valley State. I've been to a lot of HBCU homecomings and homecoming weeks of celebration, man. It's nothing like it, man. So, I mean, I'm feeling some type of way. That's why I wanted to start the show and do the show like this. And shout out to Tuskegee, definitely my adopted HBCU, man. I love it. I love everything about Tuskegee, man. I used to hang out on the yard with a couple of my buddies, man, that went to school there, man. And it was always a fun time, man. It's always a fun time. Tonight, I'm doing some light work. I got a little Elijah Craig in the cup. I got Toasted Barrel, something that I hadn't really pulled out in a minute. You know what I'm saying? So we doing that Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel. It's sitting pretty good. So that's what we're doing, and that's what's up. So listen, fellas, we done did that, man. Might be a little more, you know what I'm saying, treats throughout the show, or, you know, we'll throw some other, you know what I'm saying, HBCU homecoming stuff in there, man. But listen, we are the Leo G Show. We do talk about Atlanta sports. That's what the bulk and the meat of this show is about. So we got to get into the show, man. We got a lot to talk about, man. We got a lot to, you know, unpack tonight. A couple of things we want to definitely get to. And we're just gonna jump right into it, man. So listen, it's Friday the 13th. I don't know if you guys are superstitious or not. Derrico, you got any superstitions? It's Friday the 13th as we record this show.
None.
Banks.
Absolutely not.
Well, I don't know. Banks, you do got a couple. Well, I don't know if you want to call them superstitions or traditions, but I do know with the Falcons, you are pretty. Since I've known you, you have been pretty steadfast when it comes to certain things. I know opening day for the Falcons, you got to wear all white. Is that superstitious or is that just tradition? What is it?
It's tradition, Leo. I've been rocking that look ever since 2016. That great year of the Falcons that year. We're not going to discuss that year, but ever since that year, I was rocking the all white. The very first game, I do not rock all white for the rest of the football year.
I got that photo too. I'm gonna put that up. I don't know if I could. I got that photo, 2016 with the all. I got on the red and black. You got on the all white, man. I forgot where we were at, but we got the photo with the beer cans and all that, man. So I got to pull that out the archive. So listen, starting the show off, fellas. It is a somber day here in Atlanta, and you know, I'm not gonna lie. I'll go ahead and say it, man. I'm kind of in my feelings about it, and I know we all feel some type of way. But we gotta talk about it, and then we're gonna move on from it, man. The Atlanta Braves had a historical season. God damn, Banks. We're gonna talk about it, man. It is.
Hey, let's just say you and your feelings. We good because we understand the assignment. Go ahead and put it out there.
I get it.
We're gonna throw you under the bus right here.
Throw me under the bus, man. Listen, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I'll go ahead and put it out here. I had some very, very, you know, being an Atlanta fan, we're very, very, we're cautiously optimistic sometimes with our teams, right? But the Braves are one of our teams that have always been that team that has been kind of solid. And when we know they're good, right? Like I said, we as Atlanta fans, we're cautiously optimistic. Had a historical season with the Atlanta Braves, regular season, I should say. Just tore it up offensively, did a lot of different things, man. Home runs, hits, got you know, an MVP candidate, probably is gonna win the NL MVP and possibly the MVP of the league in Ronald Acuna Jr. Won the division, got another pennant to pin up there up at Truist Park. But we go into the NLDS and play. So before I get into this, I kind of saw some stuff on social media. We played the Phillies in the NLDS, and obviously it didn't go our way. Derek, I'm gonna kick it over to you first here. I just want you to, yes or no, are the Phillies now? Because I don't think since I've been watching baseball, the Braves have not had a real rival or real rival. I mean, the Mets, the Yankees, they're not even in our, you know, division, conference, whatever. They're in the American, we're in the National. I know during the 90s it was a whole thing with the Braves and the Yankees, but the Mets, they wanted to be our rivals. But I think now this is, I think, become a rivalry because I don't really remember the Braves having a rivalry. Derek, I'm gonna ask you, with in light of what's happened the last couple of seasons, are the Phillies now a real rivalry with the Braves? What's going on? Tell me, man.
I mean, I guess you could say that they're a rivalry in the postseason. I mean, their city don't like our city, and our city don't like their city. But I'm a preface this and say, I wish our baseball team had the same fire that their baseball team has as far as not liking our baseball team. If that occurred, I think you get different results in the postseason.
Okay.
They have the same mentality in the regular season, in the postseason. and that ain't gonna do it.
Okay, hold it a little bit. I'm gonna give you a chance to get back on that and expand on that. Banks, I'm gonna give it over to you. And I give my thought on it. Are we seeing the makings? Because, like I said, we've been watching Braves baseball for a long time, man. Is this now a rivalry? I mean, Derek O just said postseason maybe, because in the regular season, I think we took that, but it counts in the postseason. How do you feel about this now and where we are with a rivalry with the Phillies?
It's definitely a rivalry. I don't think people really realize even before that playoff games this year and last year, Phillies was kind of a bad taste in Atlanta Braves mouths. If you guys remember back in 1993, we were eliminated by this same team, 1993 in NLDS. So it's a rivalry. It's something there. I don't know what's between the Braves and the Mets. It's something that I don't know. Even I succumb to it. I don't like Mets. I don't like New York. Maybe it's the whole New York it's northern thing and Atlanta southern thing. I guess I don't know, but it's something about the Mets I can't get with, and the Phillies is up there, definitely up there.
I have to agree, man. I think that at this point now, like you said, Banks, you brought up a good point, man. 93, Phillies end up eliminating us. And then, the last 2 years here, like I said, coming off the heels of a historic season, we going to the end. And you know what? I mean, we'll talk about it, I guess, a little bit in this segment of it, man. There's a lot of things that happened and transpired. A lot of people are trying to figure out what coulda, shoulda, woulda. We talk about the MLB seating. We talk about the buy. All this stuff that makes for good talk and good banter, especially when you start talking about what we do with podcasts and just on social media discussions, and also just the live media, sports talk radio, and television. But yes, I think that this is now the makings of a real true rivalry, because last night, as I watched that game, man, that was just in the pit of my stomach. Just appear as I watched the Philly fans and I watched the Philly dugout. I had we talk about Philly and the other sports teams, but I never really had just this in my gut about the Phillies as a baseball team. But last night, man, it just boiled in me, man. I was just like, dude, I don't like this fan base. And I don't like this team. And then they eliminated us. It's really like, as the old people say from the South, stuck in my craw. Like, this is something that we're going to have to deal with, man, for real. This is something we really going to have to deal with. The Phillies cannot own us like this. It's another, I don't like this feeling. Derek Cole, I don't like this feeling, man, that another team has just like stolen our joy, man. This is not cool. Like, we had a historic regular season, and then the Phillies just come in and say, you know what? Okay, y'all had a historic season, but guess what? We're gonna take that from y'all. We're gonna outplay y'all on the field, and we're gonna outfan y'all ass. How about that? Derek Cole, man, is that a true statement? Did Philly as a whole just outdo us, period, fan wise and on the damn diamond?
I won't say I just outdo us just because it's on the, everybody want to, like the announcer last night and the night before just got tired of hearing it. Like their fans, like the best fans that ever laced them up and got in a baseball stadium. I can tell you based on my experience on, what was that, Tuesday night or Monday night? Tuesday night, Monday night, Tuesday night, whatever. When I was at the game, you can't tell me that the atmosphere at Truist Park wasn't as similar as the one at, what is that, Citizen Bank? What do they call it? Whatever that stadium is up there in Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying?
Trash.
So I don't want to say that their fans are more passionate. No, they just more obnoxious. I mean, they just are. I mean, that's just what it is. And as far as the team is concerned, they just had more swagger, more I want to, and we want to, and it showed. I mean, it just absolutely permeated throughout the lineup that they had that we gonna get in that.
I got you. Listen. like I said, man, it stuck to me, man. I'm now just I'm not a I despise the Phillies now. I can add them to the list of teams that I despise, that I hate. They're one of them. Banks. So listen,
Can I ask you a question first?
yeah. What's up? Before I
So
come
what?
on,
So why do you despise them now? Is it just because they beat us 2 years in a row, or is it because you know that they got something better than us in the postseason?
I mean, well, it's a combination, I guess. I mean, I wanted to see my team succeed. Obviously, maybe I was a little delusional to say that I thought that, hey, once we got past the Phillies, man, this was going to be a walk. But I mean, obviously, there were a bunch of flaws in the postseason with Major League Baseball. I'm not making any excuses, but the way that we lost just kind of stuck, and just the way, just I don't know, just it's just a lot of things, man. Just a combination of things that just made me like, I never really looked at the Phillies like that until last night. I watched this game. It was a late start all the way through, trying to see if we can bring this thing back to Atlanta. And every moment, every inning that went past, man, my hatred and hatred just grew and grew and grew. And then, like I said, when they was able to pull it out, man, it was just like, you know what, man, goddamn, 2 years in a row they were able to eliminate us. Banks, I'm gonna bring it over to you, man. Here, listen. Where did we go wrong, Banks? Where did we go wrong? I don't want to dwell too much on this, but where did we go wrong in your opinion? Stat line, roster, coaching. Where do you feel like we went wrong in losing this series to the Phillies? And I want you to, by all means, I want you to break this down and tell us where we went wrong.
At the end of the day, and you better be glad I couldn't find this because I was looking for it top and bottom all over this internet. When your record-breaking offense can only muster up 8 runs in 4 games, that's it. I think the stat was you had 5 home runs compared to their 11 home runs. There you go. Your MVP went 1 for 22 in the whole whole damn series. 1 for 22. Your MVP in this stage here, stars rise up. The stars supposed to shine, and your stars didn't.
But Banks, what
There-
I mean,
there's no rebuttal. Your stars didn't stand up. Only person that had any inkling of wanting to be in a playoff game was Riley. That's it. Everybody else was a non-factor. And that's where it comes down to. When you have a team who feel like everything's supposed to be given to them because they're the almighty Braves, guess what? There's someone's more hungrier than you. And Philly showed that.
but Banks, is there anything? I mean, I know we had they had the bye. We were coming off of that. I mean, is there anything to be said about that? Or, I mean, is that inexcusable? This team should have just showed up, right?
I mean, at the end of the day, you coasted into the playoffs since July, okay? There's no playoff format that's flawed, anything. Guess what? There's a team who overcome that, and that's Houston Astros, and they had a bye. There's no excuse. There's no excuse. I don't want to hear that. I think people trying to get that rolling. That has nothing to do of what the Braves or any other team has done. We just didn't want to come to play. I would say this, and it would kind of end the whole discussion, but I want to say it so bad. I want to say it so bad.
Say it. Get it off your chest. Say it.
Say it with your chest.
Listen.
Say it.
At the end of the day, and I want all the Braves country to hear this, everyone thought that we were going to slug into a World Series. In baseball, good pitching beats good hitting every day of the week. It don't matter who it is. We proved it. We proved it in 1995 when the Cleveland Indians had the best lineup in history. And what do? We shut them down with good pitching.
So, Banks,
So
Man,
what's up?
that's the
What's
same
up?
thing.
listen,
That's the
listen.
same thing that happened when we won our last World Series, right? It wasn't
I mean,
because of our hitting.
it wasn't because of our hitting, but I think with that particular year, Derek Cole, man, I think we just got hot at the right time.
The
I
pitch,
mean, if that pitching
the
was
night
awesome, the
shift,
bullpen was awesome.
yeah, exactly.
Listen, when it comes down to postseason baseball, yes, it's good to have some bats. But that would be called timely hitting. When you have the bases loaded and you can't get nobody in, that's a disgrace. You don't
So
win
listen,
playoff games that way.
so listen, Banks. I agree, and Derek, I'm gonna give it over to you because I want your sentiments about this before we move on to our next segment here. So listen, I'm in total agreement, man. With everything that you just said, Banks, man. There were a lot of things that went wrong. A lot of things that went wrong in this series. It's shameful. It's shameful, man. I will say this much before I give it over here to Derek to talk in just a second. Pitching, Spencer Strider, man. I want to give him some due because Spencer Strider and Derek Cole and I talked about this yesterday. He was the only person that dropped his nuts and said, "You know what? I gotta do what I gotta do." Last night he gave up 3 home runs. He get 3 home runs. Okay, when we talk about pitching, Banks, I totally agree, man. You got to go out there. You got to pitch. Strider was the only person that we had. I mean, we talk about the last game with Bryce Elder and that damn muck up of whatever what happened. And I'm gonna get Derek to talk about that. Give me a second, Banks. Here, I'm gonna get Derek to talk about the coaching here in just a second. But I do want to give Spencer Strider his due because this man, I watched him be as passionate as he was. I watched him get up there and talk about how disappointed he was, and how he felt bad for this fan base. But I mean, you got a lot out of the guys that you really called on, and there's no excuses because the bats were ice cold. We should have backed them up, and we didn't. So I get this over to Derek Cole Banks. I'm gonna give you a chance to say something here in just a moment before we move on to the next segment. But Derek Cole, here we are, and I want you to talk about this and the coaching. Let's be real about this. Where are we, and how do we feel about the coaching and where it failed us in this series against the Phillies? Because I think you and I both talked about this yesterday, and how Snit was out coached, and how going into this game, Snit was out coached, and how yesterday we kind of failed. And where do we need to reevaluate things with coaching and this team moving forward?
Whew. I mean, it's a combination of things. I'm gonna say that, but I'm gonna just answer your question and just highlight this answer and say I can see a lot more from Philly's manager than I did from Snicker as far as putting everything on the line. This dude just interrupted his whole bullpen last night to make sure that he made sure that the Braves didn't get hot in the 6th inning. He put in his closer in the 6th and 7th inning, in the 8th inning too, because he let Kimmer go into the 8th inning. So Snit would have never done that. Snit would always lose, or I won't say lose, use his last bullet when it doesn't even matter. You would never see Snit come up and say, "I'm gonna put Iglesias in the 6th inning" when we got a lead to make sure that we don't kill that lead. He'll bring somebody like Tonkin out there to just go out there and throw a slow slider that'll get knocked out the park. That kind of stuff. Snit is not a playoff manager to me. He's a regular season manager because during regular season, you really don't have to do a lot to strategize against the next team. And I think that's the one knock that I'll give Snit is I just don't think that he can sit there and come up with a strategy because one thing for sure, he's too loyal to his players. If a pitcher goes out there and struggle, snatch him. Don't sit there and wait. You think the dude took Suarez out in the third or fourth in the last game before tonight and didn't care? No, he didn't care. He actually went over there and talked to the dude and told him why he did it. It's bigger than you. It's bigger than one person. And that's where Snick got to get to the point where he got to understand that the game is bigger than one person, and you can't worry about nobody's feelings getting hurt.
Absolutely, I agree totally. Banks, I'm gonna let you go ahead and give me what you be wanting to give, and then I want to ask both of you guys a question before we move on to the next segment. Banks, go ahead. I know you want to say something.
Well, you already moved on, so I mean, it's moot now. I forgot what I was about to say because it was the last time we were talking about. Only I can say about all this about coaching, man. I mean, coaches coach, players play. I mean, I hear what you're saying about what his snit and what he's supposed. The only thing I can say that he mucked up at is game one. Okay, game one when you tried to reinvent the wheel and change your whole lineup, where you had your lineup working the whole year, and you wanted to change it now. Why? Why would you do that? So I mean, that's the only thing I have a problem with. I think in Snicker's defense, though, I mean, he's been with the organization for years, on top of years. I can't even tell you when he began. I think it was probably before all of us was born. Hell, I don't know.
Like 50 years.
Right. So I mean, I look at it like this, though. Like I said, coaches coach, players play. At the end of the day, when you have bases loaded and you have an MVP at the plate, I'm sorry, something's got to happen. It ain't no damn pop out. Something's got to happen. I mean, that's just on me. After I seen stuff like that, I was like, okay, this ain't it, bro. This
Man,
ain't
listen. It's not. There's a lot that can be said as to why we didn't move forward. But at the end of the day, like Derek said, man, Philly just wanted it more. Philly figured, and we got to move on, fellas. But there are a lot of things that were said. Arcia made a statement and woke up Bryce Harper and all this. There's a lot. But the last thing I want to really talk about before we move on to our next subject here, because I know we need to go on, is there's a lot of talk about the playoff seeding in the MLB and how this shook out. One of the big things is all the teams with the best records in the regular season have been eliminated from playoff contention. I know the MLB, changed the seeding up a couple of years ago, and I know a lot of people are saying that this may have had something to do with the reason things are the way that they are. I mean, I'm putting it out there. I'm not saying that that's true. I just have to put it out there, fellas. I'm gonna get you guys' opinion on it. Derek, I'll go over here to you first. MLB playoff seeding. How do you feel about it? I mean, objectively, we're not talking about just the Braves. Objectively, how do you feel about the MLB playoff seeding?
The only problem that I have, and apparently the MLB is the only sports entity that does not think like this. The lower seed always plays the higher seed no matter what. That's all I'm gonna say. If the 6 seed beat the 3 seed, then guess who need to be playing the 6 seed? The 1 seed. That's it. That's it with any playoff scenario that I've seen. That's how it works. So
Obviously,
that's the only
yes.
thing that they haven't. They need to tweak that.
Obviously, yes. You earn that reason. You play the regular season to earn that right to play the lower seed. Banks, I'm gonna kick it over to you before we switch topics here. The MLB playoff seeding, obviously, yeah. I mean, I want you to be objective. Talking about this playoff seeding. I mean, I know we've been talking about the Braves, but as a whole and being objective, how do you feel about this MLB playoff seeding?
There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, I hear what you're saying about the lower seed and the top seed, but if you're good, you're good. I mean, I look at it like that. I mean, I don't want to hear about no playoff seeding or no damn bye week and why we using bye weeks. I don't care. If you're good, you're good. I mean, at the end of the day, if you are a team that's destined and supposed to do what you do on a nightly basis, you're going to continue on doing it. Again, I use this example. Houston Astros have no problems with this. because they are moving on and they had a bye week and they are doing the same thing they did last year, win the damn World Series. So miss me with this whole argument. I don't want to hear it. If it's a big issue, then I'm sure MLB is going to address it. But at the same time, as long as somebody's still benefiting from it, they're not going to touch it. So I think we got to come better than that. We need to just do what we're supposed to do and stop choking off in the goddamn October.
Somebody beating on trash cans out there in Houston right now, goddamn it. They getting ready to beat on some trash cans as they take on the Rangers, man. So look, man, Banks, look, we all feel your sentiments, man.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Shit.
Gold. That is absolutely gold, man. I feel you. So listen, man, we're gonna change gears here a little bit, man. We're gonna get off of what happened with as my man Derico told me earlier, they bitch ass the Braves and what they did, because they really did spoil the fun here in Atlanta, man. So we got to move on to another team here in Atlanta that's moving right along, man, and doing some things, man. And that's our Atlanta Falcons. Wait, here we go, Banks again. Banks,
can I just say this before you move on, Leo? I wanted to
go
say
ahead.
this.
Go ahead, have the floor.
The Braves doing what they did was a big disappointment to the city. I get it. I wanted to ask you guys this question, Leo and Derico. Had they not won a World Series, would this be a bigger discussion versus they won a championship 2 years ago, and obviously in 1995? Does that kind of feel like, okay, well, at least they got some in the trophy case? I mean, unlike, we can't say the same thing about other teams in this city. So it's a different feeling.
Let me jump on this first, Derico, and then I pass it over to you here, man. It's always championship or bust for me in this city because of the disrespect we get nationally. So I always want to see our teams, when they get in the situation to win a championship, when you get to the dance, when you get to the playoffs, win the damn championship, man. That regular season stuff is nothing. And the Braves, they don't get a pass because they've been arguably the most successful. Well, they have been the most successful franchise in this city. They still don't get a pass. You had a historical season. Bring it home. Win the championship, damn it. We want another parade. Derico still didn't get a chance to get his beer up to the bus. We want another parade, man. Real talk. I'm sorry. You don't get an excuse. If you get up there, you can't piss the bed. You gotta get a championship. We don't get any respect from a fan level, from a national level, any of that, man. When you get a chance to put your foot on somebody's throat and show that you're the best team in whatever sport it is, you do it. Derico, I'm off of my soapbox. Go ahead.
Hey, I'm just gonna give it to you from my perspective, but Banks, I'm watching this team. I've been watching this team the whole year. So you see ebbs and flows. You see tendencies. So I did not set myself up. I really didn't. I mean, I absolutely did not set myself up for disappointment this series because I saw it. I'm telling you, when you talked about when Snick put that lineup out there and how they toe up the first game, it was a wrap for me. It was a wrap. I said, this is the type of that continues to plague this city. When something like that happens, it's like an omen. It's like just know that this is something that's not going to be good. It's not. The national media ain't going to give them a break. The local media is not going to give them a break. I'm not going to give them a break, but I'm not going to sit here and just act like it's the end of the world because they lost. If you look at the team and you look how the team was made up, you knew this team was not going to do it this year the way it was constructed. The pitching just wasn't there.
Like, hey, listen. When you get, I don't care. This is my philosophy on this. This might be my philosophy on life. If you get the opportunity, finish. Okay? Don't finish.
When did they start?
Finish. So
They
what?
didn't even start.
You BS, and we're gonna move on. You got into the playoffs. You made it to the playoffs. You won the damn NL East. You got in there. Finish.
How many banners they got up there?
Like Banks said.
How many banners?
Don't nobody give you nothing. Don't nobody give you nothing.
How many banners?
You're not entitled to anything. Finish.
How many banners?
Finish.
Does a Braves
you finish.
have up there, and how many world championships?
Find a way to close these people. How many times we got on this podcast and talk about killer mentality and closing this thing out and stepping over people and letting them know that you're the best. The Braves were the best team in the regular season, but they damn sure didn't walk into the playoffs like they were the best team.
You know
they
what?
didn't, and that's embarrassing. That is embarrassing.
The whole thing about the killer mentality does not resonate well with Atlanta teams, and I'm just going to end it with that. So, I mean, you say killer mentality, Atlanta teams, oxymoron.
It don't go together. That shit don't go together. I don't know why, but I don't know. But like I said, you finish. You finish the drill. I mean, like I said, anybody that plays sports at any level understands that when you get to a certain point that you have to damn finish. And it was obvious for anybody looking at that damn series, the Braves they know for a fact when they walked out of that locker room last night, they didn't leave it all out there.
So
cold bats, whatever the case may be. So it's no excuse for me. And I'm gonna get out my feelings because we gotta move forward.
This is the last thing I'm gonna say. Everybody thought that Tampa was gonna be the best team in baseball, right?
Yeah, back in April.
Exactly.
You know when they
exactly. So it doesn't matter. Again, it don't matter what you do in the regular season, Leo. If you don't have another notch, another gear in the playoffs, this is what you're gonna get. You got to have a different gear. You got to have a different mentality. You got to say whatever we did back then, it don't translate into the playoffs.
And that's what I just said. The sense of entitlement with this team is sickening. It is embarrassing. You cannot expect for somebody to roll over because you were the damn regular season champs. Maybe they walked into this thing and felt like, you know what, we the regular season champs, Philly. Y'all excuse us. We're gonna move on to the NLCS. No, Philly didn't get the damn memo. Shit, if you want to look over at the other series, the Dodgers didn't get the Diamondbacks didn't get the memo either. And that's the disappointing part of what we saw with these Braves. And like you said there, Carl, I'm gonna agree with you. Maybe it starts at the top, and maybe this thing needs to be shaken up. But that is embarrassing to be the best team in baseball, to do what you did, and to literally, dude, you look like you didn't belong there. You did not belong on that stage. You did not belong there. You did not. You disappointed your fans. We got to move on. Yeah. But you did not belong there. You didn't. They did not. That was an embarrassment to professional baseball. We got to move on here, man. Listen, because we up against the clock, and we got some other stuff that we got to talk about. And I done got fired up about how sorry and piss poor did the Braves play. And I didn't want to do that, and I didn't want to go there. But, you know, it is what it is. So, listen, I'm going to calm down. I'm going to woosah.
We knew that was going to happen.
I'm going to woosah. I'm going to bring it down. But y'all feel the same way I feel. Banks already let it out. You did too. But I'm going to calm down. So, look, we're going to talk about other teams in the city before we close this thing out. We're going to talk about our Atlanta Falcons because, you know, they still got a lot of ball to play. They still got something to play for, man. We'll talk about them. It's been a minute since we did the podcast with everybody. And Derek Cole, I know you were up in Detroit. We'll talk a little bit about that, what you saw with them in Detroit. But we'll talk about where we at right now. So right now we're 3-2, 5 games in. We played the what is it? The Commandos, Comanches, Washington, whoever they come into town. As we record this podcast, we playing Who is it? Damn it! What's the name of that team? Somebody correct me then.
I mean,
Y'all shaking their head.
I mean, you said Commandos. I mean, but I'm not going to touch that one. But I mean, if you want to call them Commandos, you can leave it at that. Okay, we gonna leave it at that.
They the Redskins. Hey, listen, I'm old school, dog. They've been the Redskins all my life. They've been the Redskins, all Deadskins, Foreskins, Redskins. They've been the skins all my life, dude.
You on the penile joke?
Hey, come on now. Let's keep it back to PG show.
Listen. So that's what we got coming up here, man. So listen, let's kind of give a little synopsis and a little preview into going into this game here. Last game, man, we played Houston. So before then, man, we dropped 2 on the road, back to back. Lions and the Jaguars over in London. It didn't look good, didn't look pretty. We come back home. We did beat the Houston Texans to take us over 500. But I guess the focal point of what this team is, and there's been a lot of talk about, is at the quarterback position. And Banks, I'm going to bring it over to you here first. Banks, you and I both, we go sometimes a little further than we should go. We know Derico does not like to go into these deep, uncharted waters when it comes to this retarded-ass fan base. And yes, I said it. But there's been a lot of talk about Desmond Ridder at the quarterback position and what he has or hasn't done with this team here early on. Okay, so let's talk about Desmond Ridder. Great game against the Houston Texans. Took us to a victory. A lot of people weren't satisfied, but obviously the best game that he's had since he's been a Falcon. Banks, how do you feel about Desmond Ridder and what you saw with him against the Houston Texans? And where do you see him now, hot or cold? And can this guy continue to move the needle forward as the starting quarterback here with the Atlanta Falcons?
Wow. Well, let me first say what I expected from him. Coming off that Houston Texas game, I'm gonna take you to a scene. When Houston Texas went up in the fourth quarter, it was like 1 minute and 12 seconds left. I'm not for certain what was the actual time left, and it was a guy that sat behind me and said, "Oh man, we left too much time on the clock, but is that going to be enough for Desmond Ridder?" Obviously, he was a Houston Texans fan, but I looked back at him and I said, well, let's see. This is going to define him. I don't know, fellas, and I'm just being me, and I might have been too critical of him. I think this is what his 8th start or something like that. I had no faith in him. I had no faith in him in that moment. What Desmond Ridder did was exceed my expectation. He got the guys down the field into field goal range to win the game. That's all you can ask that man to do at that moment. Yes, the first quarter looked kind of shaky. Second quarter, man. But at the end of the day, when it was all on the table, we needed him to do what we had to do, and he did it. We won. He did it. Like, what quarterback? I know you can say that's easy work, but I mean, it really isn't. And we've been in that situation a lot of times, guys, and we have not got to that other side to kick a winning field goal. Okay, let's make that clear. So, what he's done so far, compared to where he's coming from and his shortcomings, I think it's very impressive.
Hey man, listen, Banks. I agree with your sentiments, man. We always talk about this, man. There's technically 3 columns in the NFL. There's a win column, there's a loss column, and there's a tie column. Obviously, there's no pretty win column. There's no ugly win column. There's no pretty loss column. There's no ugly loss column. There's wins and losses. At the end of the day, that's all that matters, and that's all that counts. And like you said, Banks, we have been into these, it's been a long time since we've been into these waters where we have not had a vote of confidence in winning games like this. But it's been 2 games this year that we've come from behind and won. And it was partly, in fact, because of what Desmond Ridder did. So I'm going to give it over here to Derek. I want you to talk a little bit about some of the ugly with Desmond Ritter. We took 2 L's. You were there in person to see the L in Detroit, and we took an L in London. You know, this is par for the course, in my opinion, when you talk about the NFL and we all know that it's a high chance that nobody's going to go undefeated into winning the Super Bowl. Why are we so critical when we see these losses? And why are a lot of people so critical of Desmond Ritter for taking the L's? I mean, yeah, the Detroit game, it was bad. Can you put it all on him? Not, I don't know. I mean, there was some the play calling. There was a lot of things that were suspect in that game. You move forward into the Jacksonville game as well. And we're just talking about the offense. We'll talk about the defense in a minute. Derek Cole, why sometimes are we always critical of these performances? Because we know in the NFL, I mean, it's going to be some bad games, and we're going to take some L's, and you got to learn from them and move forward. And I think Desmond Ritter has done that. Can you tell me what there is to learn from those L's that we took in Detroit and Jacksonville?
The L from Detroit, nothing. You just got your ass kicked. I mean, literally. You just literally got your ass kicked and manhandled. So what you can learn from that is you got to learn that you got to be tougher than the other team that you lining up against. That's one thing that you can learn from that. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm just sitting there watching it, and I'm just like, y'all just getting drugged, and it's not even funny. The play calling, the offensive line, the defensive line, nothing. Special team, nothing. If I'm not mistaken, I'm like, cool. What are you doing? What are you doing? So when you know he having a bad day, you know ain't nothing going right. So what I want to see this team learn from Detroit and Jacksonville is you got to have a different mentality on the road. You can't be comfortable in the bins and not think that you can't go out on the road and win a football game.
Banks, I'm gonna bring it back over to here in just a second, man, because we pressed up against the mark. But I'm gonna get as much from you as I possibly can because I want to talk about a couple of other things here before we close this out. So listen, one of the things I want to talk about here briefly is the defense. And Derek, I'm gonna bring it back around to you. And I'm gonna just speak freely for just a second here about the defense, man. I am totally on board with what Ryan Nielsen is doing with this defense. We're getting the job done. The only thing I can say about this defense that is clear and obvious is that we're not getting the quarterback on the ground enough. But there's nothing else that you can really say bad about what this defense is doing. This defense, other than the fact that, like you said, Detroit whooped our ass. You know what I'm saying? They out physicaled us. You know, they put it to us. But defensively, man, there hasn't been a lot of flaws or weaknesses that I can say that we've been exploited on. The secondary has played well. The defensive line has played well. We've held teams to what we needed to hold teams to because we got to talk about the yin and yang of football. You got to score points as well. Not just, you know, we obviously know this is not the 1985 Bears or the 2000 Baltimore Ravens. We're going to have to put some points up. But the defense has been very, very good, in my opinion, other than the fact that not the stat of, I guess, we've been so allergic to sacks in this city for such a long time. I saw something today that over the last 5 years or so, the Falcons have only amassed like 40-something sacks. The next team that was below us was the Raiders, and they had like 71. And that's just insane. Outside of the fact that us not getting the sacks, Derrico, how do you feel about this defense through 5 games?
I like our defense. I like our defense, and I don't want to say this like I'm saying it, but I'm saying it because it's true. I like the fact that I like 53 better than I like 44 on the linebacking core. He's made more plays than that guy, hands down. If anybody want to talk about that, we can go outside right now and we'll get in the ring and we will duke it out because 53 is playing better than 44. That was part of the problem initially, that our defensive linebacker was getting ate up. But I see that has calmed down. So I like our defense. I'm not going to hit on that sack thing because unless you want me to go to that point that you wanted me to make, that's going to be my highlight point. Do you want me to
All
go ahead and
right.
say it?
Nah, I'm gonna coming
Okay.
back to you. I'm gonna let Banks
Okay.
give what he gives, and then we're gonna close this thing out with what we expect Sunday against the Commandos, and give your point as to what we need to do in order to win this game. Banks, tell us how you feel about this defense here in the first 5 games and what you feel like, and also the other point that you had
I
beforehand.
mean, we moved on. I mean, I can't get my point off if you keep moving on. So I'm just gonna say the defense, man, you are ranked 10th in scoring defensively. Okay. I think I read somewhere where they're like 7th against the pass or something in the NFL, but they are bottom 5 in sacks. Do you take that, fellas? Yes, I'll take it. Because at the end of the day, they're only getting better. For your sentiments, Derico, I can't like that last statement good enough. Ever since that man, I mean, I don't wish injury on nobody, but ever since he went down, we played better at that position. Lord have mercy. That ain't the only position. That ain't the only one. Well,
Okay.
I'm gonna
Well,
hold
Right
up,
tackle.
wait, hold,
hold on, hold on.
Right tackle too.
Let me say it. Let me say it. When that right tackle went down,
We talking
and
about
that,
defense.
hold up, Leo, hold up. Let me finish my point. When that right tackle went down, and that undrafted free agent came in, and that offensive line looked way better. I don't know, fellas. I could be stupid, and I may not know what the hell I'm looking at, but I know that man need to play. I know Lemon need to play. I'm not stupid. Derico, are you seeing the same thing? Maybe I'm dumb.
Bruh,
I don't know.
sir.
Maybe
Man, we
okay.
agree. Look,
Hey,
Banks, we agree with you.
No.
I agree with you,
I
man.
can pull up the tweet.
Let me
I
tell you
look. Listen,
something.
listen.
I sat there with my hands out like this, like what the hell just happened with this offensive line? When McGarity went down, I said, we're done.
Banks, you got 30 seconds. You got 30 seconds.
Listen here, count it down if you want to, but I'm going to say this. When McGarity went down, I said we were done. I see this man come in from the New Orleans Saints out of all teams, practice squad, and he comes in and he held it down, and my quarterback looked like a down quarterback, and I'm sitting back around like, this man can't come back. He can't come back. Is that a knee-jerk reaction? Is that a knee-jerk reaction? Let me know, fellas, because my 30 seconds almost up. Is that a knee-jerk reaction?
Derico just left. He just done left the building. Listen, man. Hey, I agree with you wholeheartedly, man. But listen, we got to move forward, man. We got to kind of close this thing out, man. Banks, I like the passion that you bring in tonight about this team, man. And Derico as well. I like everything here. So listen, before we close this thing out, let's talk a little bit about this game and what we need to do, the keys to victory here. And I'm going to start off and I'm going to go first here. And then I'm going to give it to Banks. Obviously, Banks will give you a little bit of time to give your opinions and thoughts, and then we'll give it over to Derico to bring his key point as to what's going to give us the victory for this Sunday. So listen, I think this Falcons team is moving in the right direction. They're ticking upwards. I think the offense is as well. I think the defense is right where we want to be. One thing I want to point out, and this is something that we'll say for the next podcast, is I think that we're witnessing a generational talent in Bijan Robinson, and I think that we need to continue to see what this man can do in every facet that we can get the ball in his hands. Man, I am loving what I'm seeing out of Bijan Robinson on this offense, and hopefully we can move forward and just be more successful with him. In my opinion, I think that this is a winnable game. I don't think that it's something that we need to be afraid of. I know that the Washington has a strong defensive front, but I think that we can come into this game and we can match up and we can balance out because, hey, they don't have a good offensive line. They have a young quarterback as well. I think that this is a game that, especially being at home that we just talked about, we can take command of, and we can win this game and be right where we want. I think at the beginning of the season when we looked at wins and losses, I think that this was a game that we thought that we could take moving forward, because I know, fellas, I don't know if you guys knew this or not, man, but we played after Sunday. This will be half of our home games played, and we got to go on the road and hunt for a lot of the rest of these games. So we need to get this one before we go down to Tampa, and I think that we can do this if we play a game, stout offensively, defensively, and special teams. And just, I think the key to this game, in my opinion, is just going to be being disciplined. I think that we have a team that is better, and I think we just need to be disciplined. Banks, give it over to you before we give it over to Derek. Before we give it over to Derrico to close it out.
The key to this game is line of scrimmage. The line of scrimmage has to play hard. They have to play big. Listen, Washington Commanders, their defensive line is still stout. I think it hasn't really showed throughout the season so far. I think they are one of the worst teams in stopping the run that I read. But I don't want to put it past the fact that they do still have some guys up front. We have to win those battles. If that's indeed the case, fellas, we got to run the ball, and we're gonna have to test that notion and see if it works, if it pans out, because we are a running team. So let's do what it suits us better versus trying to reinvent the wheel. That's the worst thing that can happen to this team right now, because they too young. They need to stick to what works, and whatever Washington is giving you, take it.
Absolutely. Derrico, give me your final thought and what it's going to take for us to take this game against Washington, man.
I mean, Banks already kind of put it out there. So this is what I was going to say. Washington right now has given up 29 sacks. That is the most in the NFL. We only played 5 games. You do the math. If we can't get to the quarterback on Sunday, there's a philosophical problem going on, or your players just can't get to him.
We'll
That's
only
number
get
one.
two.
Number
we'll
two.
only get 2 sacks.
Number two.
Okay, go ahead, Derrico.
Washington's defense is 24th in stopping the run. So, with that being said, run the football. I don't care if Desmond Ridder got 150 yards passing and we got 275 yards running. That's what I want to see on Sunday. Run for 275, throw for 150, get a dub, and sack the quarterback.
That's it. Like I said, I just said it, fellas. There's no pretty win column, ugly win column. It's a win column. Do what we need to do to win the ball game. Like you said, Derrico, I'm in total agreement with you. I don't care what Desmond Ridder's stat line. Contrary to what the fan base wants to say, a W is a W. I don't care about stat like our coach said. All these fantasy warriors and want to see all these points. Win the game. If you win the game.
But I don't
almost went there.
That, though.
Listen, I need you to win the game. Period. Point blank. Simple. Listen, man, it's been another great episode, fellas, man. We got it in, man. Like I said, I was feeling some type of way. It's fall, it's October, man. It's the homecoming edition. I want to say, man, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys Sunday, man, against the Commandos, Comanches, Redskins, Deadskins, Foreskins, whatever, man. Derrico, 17 years with the Falcons. We try to get it up. 17 years up there, man. We're going to try to make our way up there, man, to celebrate with you. I know you got a lot of stuff going on, man. Let everybody know what's going on Sunday, man, for this game, and let everybody know where they can find you.
Hey, man, let me tell y'all something. Y'all better come to the best tailgate in the city, the Falcon Players, off of Northside Drive. And we say Tatnall, but it ain't really Tatnall. But if you really want to get to us, go to 170 Northside Drive. That's the Atlanta Tucky Brewery. You slide across the street. That's where we are. That'll get you in there. What else you need to know? I got about 20 members of my family coming to celebrate this weekend. So we're going to go in there. We got one Commander fan, and she's going to be hurting. That's my big sister. Holla, she from Fort Valley State. So I might, You know what I might do? I might, when I get back from Seattle, I might ride down to Fort Valley because I ain't never been to Fort Valley homecoming with my sister. That's a shout out there for her, Fort Valley. What else you want me to say? How can you find me? You can reach me on the Twitter at VSU96SDD. You can catch me on IG at Derico_Virgo. And you can catch me on Facebook at Stacey D. Derico. You might not be able to see me because I got a lot of stuff. And the last thing, Snapchat. I don't know what my Snapchat is, but I'm on Snapchat.
You on Snapchat, you on Facebook, you on TikTok, you on the X, you on MySpace, he on everything, man. Y'all catch him, man. Like I said, if y'all ain't never came to Atlanta Falcons tailgate, man, make sure y'all make your way up to Northside Drive, man, to Five Corners tailgate. You won't be disappointed, man. I was kind of MIA for the first 2 games, but I made my way up there last Sunday, man. It didn't disappoint, man. They had your boy up there taking all the shot. Listen, it's a party, man. I'm not gonna tell y'all what happens up there. Y'all gotta come up there and see it. Y'all gotta come up there and see it. So that's the only way y'all gonna experience it. If y'all can look at, they gotta come up there and experience it, man. I definitely won't be disappointed. Banks, I'm gonna hand it over to you before we close this thing out.
Well, as long as we're not talking about foreskins and bear skins and all that crap, you can find me. You can find me at BabyBanks80 on Twitter or X, or BabyBanks80 on Instagram.
That boy done took it himself. Look, he done took it himself, man.
Hey,
Finish this thing out, man. Come on, finish this thing out strong.
Hey, Banks, you would think this dude has an advertisement for a condom distributor.
I know. Listen, this boy here, man.
Oh, wait a minute. I was saying it, and I kept looking at Derek Cohen.
Listen. Listen, we're going to finish this thing out.
I'm sorry. It's Antoine Jarrell Banks on Facebook.
Man, hit the mute on your mic. Hit the mute on your mic. Let me close this thing out, man. Hit the mute on your mic, man. Golly, man. He can't breathe. Thank you. And I hit the mute. God almighty. Listen, hey, man. Y'all catch Banks when y'all see him in these streets, man. Catch the Leo G Show on the X, the Twitter, whatever Elon Musk call these days. The Leo G Show, the #1 over there. You can also catch me on my personal Twitter account. I'm the Bruiser the Butcher, at Southern Set with 2 T's. Also catch us on Facebook if you're still with Facebook. Banks is he is overwhelmed today. I mean, I'm glad he is having fun with this show. That's what it's all about, man. Being fans and having fun. Like I said, I want to shout out the Falconers, group, like Northside Drive, man, tailgate group, man, my man Smoking Butts up there. Shout out to my girl Princess up there. Shout out to everybody up there that make that thing happen. DJ K-Roll. I bet y'all didn't know that DJ K-Roll does the Leo G podcast as well. Y'all didn't know that, did y'all? DJ K-Roll does the Leo G podcast. I'm going to leave it at that. So, man, we have a good time up there at the tailgates, man. If you just want to come up there, man, and just kick it just to see what we do, man, you can. I'll try to put the information out there. Well, yeah, we can. If hit us up on Twitter or Facebook if you want the information. I'll send you the information so you can prepay if you want to come up there and get the full experience, man. Got a full menu, drinks, everything. So hit us up on social media, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, and we'll get you the information if you want to prepay for the tailgate. Is that cool, Derico?
Yes, sir.
Hit us up on social media, and we'll definitely get that out to you. It's been another edition of the Leo G Show, man. We had fun tonight, fellas. I really want to say that it was good to do this, man, and do our fan therapy like we always do, man. Shout out to our HBCU. Shout out to Homecoming. Shout out to Banneker, Mays, Stevenson, all the APS schools, all the Fulton County schools, all the DeKalb County schools, man. All the HBCU, Tuskegee, fam, Fort Valley, Alabama A&M, Alabama State, Southern, Talladega, Stillman, Bethune-Cookman, all of Alcorn, Mississippi Valley State. Y'all help me out. Tennessee State.
I know you about to sit here and name them all.
Jackson State.
You named all these schools before you got to the AU. Come on now.
Man, Clark Atlanta, Morehouse, Morris Brown. Shout out to Morris Brown, Spellhouse, Spellman, all of them, man. You know what I'm saying? We doing it real big for all the HBCUs.
Texas Southern.
Payne College, Texas Southern, Prairie View A&M, Arkansas Pine Bluff. All of them, man. We doing it big. Southern, Albany State, Savannah State. Man, all our HBCUs, man. We doing it big, man. Edward Waters. With another edition of the Leo G Show, man. We love all y'all, man. We doing it big.